Hi guys, how are you doing? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Neil. If you've not been here before, please do not forget to subscribe before you leave. Welcome to part 2 of my monstrous amp blind test tone war. Okay, now if you've missed part 1 and you want to watch that part first, that's fair enough. The link is down there below in the description. A big thanks to all the guys that took part in it and went in the comments and actually took part and voted for their favourite tone. For those of you that missed part 1 and can't be bothered watching it, just want to watch this one, then this is the part of the demo where I reveal which tone belongs to which amp. Now in this demo I said I'd throw in some curveballs, which means that basically anything that I have in my possession in this room that can power a cab went into this demo, not just big whopping tube amps. I did learn quite a lot in this demo. Like I said in part 1, I think when you start close miking amps, particularly high gain amps, I think it starts making the playing field more even. Okay, so if you use the room mic or your ears in the room, I think you would notice a bigger difference between these amps than you actually would with a close mic. Also, obviously the mic has certain frequencies in it, you know, it's EQ'd to a certain degree, so some mics will accentuate some amps better than others, you know. So I just use an SM57 in front of my Hesu 212 loaded with vintage 30s, and I use that in the same position in for every clip, for every tone, for every amp. And I just thought that I would use that like I always do, because most venues use SM57s if they have a backline already there. In this demo I labelled the amps A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, and I asked you guys to vote for them, and now I'm going to reveal which tone belongs to which amp. Now, I did throw some curveballs in there. I said that anything that powers a cab in this room will be used in the demo, and we're going to start with tone A. Okay, I'm going to reveal to you now which amp is responsible for tone A, and the amp that is responsible for tone A is the Driftwood Purple Nightmare preamp pedal. For those of you that's not seen my demo of this pedal, you're probably wondering how's he powering a cab with this pedal. It actually has a 2-watt output mode, okay? Quite a low wattage output. It powers a cab, but it's loud, and if you're only practicing at home, it can go too loud for home volumes, in my opinion. It was stupidly loud in here. You can't crank it too high with it only being 2 watts, obviously. You can only go to like number 3 on the master. But it was loud in here, trust me, it was really loud. It was more than loud enough. Now, on the mixer, I did have to turn the Driftwood Purple Nightmare up a bit more, obviously boost it a bit more. I did the 100-watt amps for obvious reasons. But what really shocked me was how well it sounded, and how full it sounded, and how thick it sounded. I am going to confess though, I made a bit of a mistake when I recorded the Driftwood Purple Nightmare preamp pedal. And the reason for that is because here we have a presence and a resonance, okay, rumble and sharp. Now, I was told by Marek, who owns and is the designer of Driftwood amplification, lovely guy by the way, if you ever get a chance to meet him at any shows, the rumble control, the last 10% of it gives it more girth when it's in 2-watt mode. Obviously you wouldn't put your resonance up full on most amps, but when this is in 2-watt mode, it really thickens it out, and it really helps that last 10% on the dial. Now, because I'm a paranoid tube amp guy, and I knew this pedal was competing against these monsters behind me, I got a bit worried, I think, and I put the rumble control up almost full, which is too much, okay, in this demo. So this pedal can sound a lot better in my opinion. I just was paranoid that it wouldn't sound thick enough compared to the tube amps. However, I was totally wrong. This thing, you would not know in the blind test that this thing was not a 100-watt tube amp. It has tons of low end, a bit too much to be honest. Like I said, I made a mistake with the rumble control, and I think I made the Driftwood a bit too woofy and a bit too dark in the low end, a bit too scooped in the low end. So if I redid the demo, I would just ease off on that rumble control. However, that being said, it really shocked me. It just shows that we don't need to record modern high gain amps at absolutely super loud, at ball busting, ear bursting decibels, you know. But yeah, we're going to check it out now. There's a short clip just as a reminder, but yeah, the Driftwood Purple Nightmare preamp pedal was tone A. Okay guys, so what do you think of that? I think it sounded pretty fat and pretty full for just a 2-watt amp. Pretty impressive, actually. The next tone that you guys listened to and maybe voted for is Tone B. Tone B shocked the hell out of me because it was actually one of my favourites. It would have been in my top 3 for sure, and it was actually the Amp 2. For those of you guys that own the Amp 2 by Blackstar Amplification, I put the Tube Screamer in front, or should I say the Sonic 8 Blue Screamer, in front of the classic channel on the preamp of the Amp 2, and that's it, and I put it into the cab. Settings were more or less 666, not much difference, but I mean, it blew my mind, it really did. Like I said, that was in my top 3, that for sure. I couldn't decide exactly an order of my preference, but that was definitely my top 3 and it blew my mind. I already knew it was really good. I've already put it against the EVH 5150 Stealth there, but I've not done it with a boost in front, and that is when it really shines, when you put a boost in front of the classic channel. I should say the classic mode. Yeah, I don't know what to say, you know, I mean, it sounded great, and it blew my mind, and it was loud as hell, obviously, in the room. It can be as loud as the tube amps, obviously, with it being 100 watts, but yeah, sounded great, sounded amazing, and some of you guys voted for that one too. Okay guys, so now it's time to reveal Tone C. Tone C was the EVH 5150-50S, and I used the blue channel with the boost in front, and it's been a popular amp on this channel for some time. I usually use that with my Captor X. My 2 notes Captor X sounds absolutely fantastic with the Captor X for some reason. I don't know why, but again, great sounding amp. Okay guys, now it's time to reveal Tone D. Tone D was a Blackstar HD100 Mark II. I used OD1 in this demo, and I'll be honest with you, OD2 is tighter and it's a touch better. I should have used OD2, but I just fancied a change and I fancied using something a bit different. So I used OD1 in this demo. On OD2 on the amp, if you use the voice switch, you actually don't need a boost at all. It almost acts like a boost, like you're kicking a boost in if you engage the voice switch. What I should have done is used OD2 without the voice switch engaged. However, it's too late now. I used OD1. It still sounds absolutely fantastic. Tons of low-end punch, and that typical Blackstar darkness is there in the tone. Let's listen to it. Okay guys, now I'm going to reveal Tone E. Tone E is the Peavey 6505 Metal Classic. It's an absolutely fantastic amp. Sounded great in this room today. One thing I will say is that I thought I dialed in too much gain, even though the gain was only on 2.5, okay? It was really low, but it did sound a bit woolly around the edges and a bit brighter, quite a lot brighter than the 6505 Plus. Let's check it out. It's a Metal Classic and we all know what it does. Okay guys, now we're on to Tone F. Tone F was a 6505 Plus. I've put the 6505 Plus straight after the 6505 on purpose for you guys to listen to. The first thing that shocked me is the 6505 Plus in this demo sounded way better to me. It was cleaner, clearer, punchier and tighter. I've previously done a demo on a shootout with the 6505 Plus and the Peavey 6505, and on that day I preferred the 6505. So I don't know what's happened here, could be mic position, I'm not sure, but in this particular tone test, which is what this demo is, it is a tone test, not really an amp test. For me, the 6505 Plus sounded a bit better with the exact same settings. Let's check it out. Okay guys, now we're on to Tone G. Tone G is my beloved Peavey JSX. Absolutely love this amp. If you're into Lamb of God like I am and you're into those really tight high mids that some people describe as like almost cocked wah mids, the sustain lasts forever. You know, the bite on the chords is absolutely fantastic. This one's loaded with EL34s in the power section. You can swap those out for 6L6s if you want. Some guys prefer 6L6s in there, some guys prefer EL34s in there. I'm not going to touch this because it sounds absolutely fantastic. And it sounds way different and feels way different than all my other amps, and that's what I love about it, and that's probably the reason that I will never sell that amp. Let's listen to it. Okay guys, now we're on to Tone H. Tone H is the EVH LBX 1 and it is on the blue channel boosted. Again, everything is set to 666. Absolutely love this amp. Now what I will say about this amp is I knew it was going to do well in this test because I used to gig with that amp, and every sound guy that had after just about every gig always made a compliment towards that amp and that tone. It works really well with mics. It's got a lot of bite, a lot of focus mids, and that is what the mic picks up on, so it works really well. The blue channel is super clear. Out of all EVH amps, the blue channel on the LBX1 in my opinion is the clearest. It has the most clarity and it has the tightest feel to it, and I think that's why mics react so well and it sounds so great in a mix. If you're going into a studio and you're looking for a new amp to buy and you're on a budget, the LBX1 will not let you down. It is absolutely fantastic when you mic it up. Let's listen to it. Okay guys, now we're on to Tone I. Tone I is the EVH EL34S. It's an absolute monster, and within the room to the ear, or if you had a room mic in here, it has the most boom. It's the most three-dimensional. It's like a rectifier. You know, it fills the room, it's very aggressive, very big sounding, and really if you're just judging an amp on how big it sounds, that amp is probably the biggest sounding amp in this room in my opinion. I used the blue channel boosted, everything was on 666. Absolutely sounded fantastic within the room. I did dial it in a touch too dark on this demo, if I'm honest. With that amp, there's a fine line between too bright and too dark. It's got a looser low end, kind of a saggy, chewy low end to it that I really, really like. And yeah, it sounds great. It is what it is. It is also probably the most expensive amp in this room. Let's listen to it. Okay guys, now I'm going to reveal Tone J. It's no surprise that Tone J is the Marshall Jvm, J for Jvm. This is the amp out of all the tube amps that surprised me the most. I used to gig with a Jvm. I was a Marshall artist many years ago and I used Marshalls on the road. One thing I will say about this amp is that in the room it sounded a bit woolly and a bit fuzzy. I enjoyed it, it sounded great. It was very, very chewy in the low end, but it did sound a bit woolly and I was afraid that it might not match the other amps as far as the mid-range honk, goes. But the JVM sounds absolutely fantastic. Again, like the LBX1, reacts really well with a mic, This would definitely be in my top 3. I haven't done my top 3 of these because obviously I own all these amps, so I love them all. But in my opinion, the JVM, if I was going to be voting myself, I guess, and I didn't own all these amps, I was just listening to them with my ears on a blind test, I would definitely put that JVM in the top 3, which is not bad to say how old the amp is. Sounds absolutely fantastic, reacts great to a mic, super, super tight. Let's listen to it. What did you guys think anyway? That's the important thing. It doesn't really matter what I think. I want to know what you guys think. I want to know, all you guys that commented and ranked your tones below, I want you to go back in the comments on this video and let me know what you think now you have found out which tone belongs to which amp. Like I said, the two biggest shocks for me were the 2-watt Driftwood preamp pedal and the Amp 2. I knew they'd sound good, but I honestly, if I hold my hand up and be totally honest with you guys, I thought they'd get destroyed in this demo. I thought they'd come last, and they didn't. They held their own. The Amp 2 in particular, I really am in favour of that tone that I captured on the day. It sounds great, and I'm going to have to take a screenshot of the settings on there. The Amp 2, by the way, had the treble. Everything was on 666 apart from the treble. Okay, the treble, the gain was on 3 and the treble was on 5. So it was a touch lower just to get a bit more low end out of that. But yeah, what did you think? That's the main thing. I want to know what you guys think. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to see any more of this type of thing on the channel, then let me know. Obviously, like I said, these amps have tons of channels, and to cover every channel on every amp, that would be an extremely long video. There will be some channels on some of these amps that you guys will prefer over probably the ones that I used. Anyhow, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. I'll see you all soon.